This is the 76th time racers have challenged the 14,110-foot summit of Pikes Peak. And say what you will about speeds, technology, history, and danger, it is different this year. Whether you're Rod Millen trying to beat his personal best and crack the 10-minute mark, or champions like Bobby Unser, Roger Mears, and Parnelli Jones, who return one more time for a personal quest of legend versus legend. Or 8-time champion Ralph Bruning, who fights not just the mountain this year, but is battling cancer as well. This is the 76th running of the Race to the Clouds, where human nature and emotions battle the stoic mountain. But this year, it's personal. Weather conditions are absolutely ideal for the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, presented by KYB Gas Shocks here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Just 3 years ago, a blizzard kept us from reaching the summit for the first time in the history of the event, but it won't be the case today. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, and welcome to the 76th running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. We're in the pre-start area. Normally, we'd be showing you the beautiful pictures of the mountain in the background, but today, we're going to have the Toyota Challenge of Champions, and the 3 competitors, 3 legends of motorsports standing right next to me. Bobby Unser, 14-time winner here. Parnelli Jones, another winner here. Roger Mears, another winner. I mean, how serious?
These are my 2 heroes right here.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I had a feeling it's going to get a little deep here. Tell me about this, guys. What's going on?
Well, you know, Bobby, you know, he's won 14 times up here. You know, I've only won a couple. Roger's won a couple, you know, and everything. But he's been up here for a month practicing, see?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, and chewing the cops out and everything else. I mean, you know, this is Unser Hill. You know, I think that's where the U came in the Unser.
Okay, it's time for you to respond.
These are the ones that you got to worry about. You know, I thought we were all going to 3-start together, right? And I got the inside, and Parnelli was going to be there, and Roger was going to be right over there, and I wasn't going to have anybody to run against. But it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, I have this feeling all Toyota officials had apoplexy when he said side-by-side racing, because the cars wouldn't come back in one piece.
Les Unger came by a little while ago from Toyota, and he's looked at all the fenders, and he says, now I'd like to get, there's going to be 4, 8, 12. He says, I want 12 fenders back when the race is over.
All right, your turn to get in on this. Tell me how serious you guys going to be in this race.
Well, I thought we weren't going to be too serious, but I'm telling you, Bobby's been up here practicing and everything. And,
Does he look like
yeah, I forgot what the hell I was going to say. Am I serious or not? I look serious.
Well, now we know why he doesn't hold the microphone, but he can still hold the steering wheel. Stay with us, because these 3 guys are going to entertain us, taking us all the way up. They're going to race to Glen Cove. We'll find out what they think after the run.
Well, these guys are definitely taking it serious, believe me. Bobby Unser did get in a feud with one of the police officers because he was running a little too fast up there doing a little practicing. So these guys have been up here all week kind of looking this place over. The weather is going to be great. But look at the difference between the bottom of the hill and the top of the hill. On the left, it's 71 degrees. That's the bottom of the hill. On the right, it's 51 degrees. That's at the top of the hill. We've seen wind gusts up to 40 and 50 miles an hour at the top. Today, it's only 12. Stephen Cox is up there, and he's in a light jacket.
Once the drivers reach the summit at the finish line, you'll find that things are pretty hard-packed. In fact, the surface of the racetrack may be too hard-packed for any real good record runs. Also, about a quarter mile down the track, we've got quite a bit of moisture, so once you get up this direction, you can pretty much predict what it's going to feel like. But further down the track, we've got a lot of variation, some very loose-packed dirt, some very hard-packed areas. It's going to be a total die roll as to whether anybody is going to go for the record.
And look at the view behind Stephen Cox at the summit. Here's what the course looks like. We start at 9,400 feet.
9,400 feet up to the ski area. This is an area that's pretty tame compared to the top of the course. Then the Glen Cove, which is the halfway mark. Then you get into the really steep, curvy part of the course. The W's right there. That's a very treacherous part that the guys always hate to run through. Then you go around that, up into Devil's Playground. By this time, you've lost about 15% of the horsepower in that engine. At the top, it's 14,110 feet. That'll lose anybody's horsepower.
Let's show you some highlights from action that's already taken place in high-performance showroom stock. This is Reese Millen, qualified second in that Toyota at 5:44.6. And he had a great run going, and he would set a new record for 2-wheel drive high-performance showroom stock cars.
And early in the day, the racetrack was in great condition. Reese Millen comes through the checkered flag and sets a new track record at 12:42.12.
But it wouldn't last long in the battle for the overall championship in high-performance showroom stock, because the four-time champion, Jeff Swart, the top qualifier in that Porsche at 5 minutes 40.01 seconds, just flew up the mountain. He would break Reese's mark by 17 seconds and set a new four-wheel drive record overall with 12:24.60 seconds. Moving to the Legends division, this is the 1997 champion, James Adams. Now, he did not make it to Glen Cove, did not get a qualifying run in, so he had to start first, and he still put in a great effort.
He certainly did. He was very smooth all the way up the course. He really had this thing dialed in. And he had a very, very quick time, but it was a very, very competitive field this year.
He would come home in 13 minutes 56.51 seconds. But the man who would be the guy to beat was this guy right here, Robert Gayton from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was the top qualifier at 6 minutes 20 seconds flat. And as he came across the finish line, he would stop the clock at 13 minutes 56.37 seconds. The margin of victory, 14/100ths of a second. Let's move into Pikes Peak Open Division now.
Yes, the Pikes Peak Open Division is closed body production cars, minimum weight of 1,800 pounds, and the division record is 11:42.95, held by Kameyama.
In the Pikes Peak Open Division, this has been a two-man race the last couple of years between Kameyama and this guy, Paul Schwanier. Schwanier won it last year, and in the Hyundai Tiburon mounted another strong challenge.
Yes, he did. He was third in the qualifications behind Kameyama, but he's really come here prepared this year. This car is the same car that he runs on the Pro Rally circuit all the time, but he made a lot of changes to it. Ooh, he's having a little trouble handling that thing, getting through the corners, it looks like. But he made a lot of changes to it, to the drive train and so forth, but he put it all back to his rally setup. He thought the rally setup felt much better to him up the mountain than his special trick stuff that he tried earlier in the week.
You can see the black marks. That's the groove. That's the line you want to stay on, and even that's getting a little greasy in spots.
Yes, you try to get right to the inside of the corners. You can see him running. There's a little ditch down on the inside on some of the corners, and if you get that left front down in there, it can actually help you get through the corners a little bit.
Heading up towards Engineers Corner. He's run that thing real close to the limiter.
Yes.
And here's Akira Kameyama, the top qualifier at 5:11.7. A two-time champion in this division here at Pikes Peak.
Well, you can believe that he wants to get this championship back. He didn't win last year. He wants very badly to get back on top of the mountain. Also a Pro Rally driver. They're used to running these kind of circuits.
Kameyama, listen to this car just motors. This thing handled so well all week long. And you can see the way he just smoothly around that corner. Halfway picnic grounds now. This is Paul Schwanier. We'll get an idea how fast he's going, 107 miles an hour.
Well, that's pretty fast. It'd be interesting to see. That'll tell us a lot when Kameyama goes by there as to how they're doing. But right now, Schwanier really has to concentrate on getting up through this really tough part of the course. He put a turbocharger. He runs this engine on methanol. It's a little different than the engine he normally runs because he thinks it's important to have a little more horsepower on this mountain.
Speed is one thing. Whoa! Getting it sideways is another.
That is lock to lock, I think.
That scrubs off a lot of time, and boy, when you're climbing up this 156 turns, you lose any kind of momentum, it can kill you. Here comes Kameyama through the halfway picnic grounds. 112 miles an hour, he's quicker.
Well, he is quicker, and that's not good for Paul Schwanier. That's always an indicator of how guys are getting through the corners. If you get through that corner and down that straightaway, you pick up a lot of speed, and that's not good news for Paul Schwanier.
Now, earlier, Koichi Horiuchi on the left had set a time at the halfway mark at 5:15, and Schwanier about 3 seconds under that, and that could be all that opposite lock that we're seeing.
Yes, he had a lot of trouble down there in that slick part of the course getting that thing sideways. He will have to make up a lot of time up here, and it's a lot curvier. The road is a lot different here on the top part of the course. For some people, it's a lot tougher. Other people like it better.
As you can see, no trees. We're up in the alpine zone as it's getting cooler. And here comes Kameyama. Now Horiuchi's time is still the time to beat it halfway. Kameyama's going to destroy it.
Oh, Kameyama is very, very fast. That 112 mile an hour straightaway speed definitely was an indicator of how quick he's getting through the corners and down the straightaways.
Well, stay with us. We got a lot more racing action coming your way, including our legends in the Toyota Bosch Challenge of Champions. Stay with us. We're in Colorado Springs at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. Marty Reed, Larry Rice, Stephen Cox at the summit. We're at Colorado Springs, the 76th running of this storied event. Oh boy, the Hyundai slow through that corner.
Very, very slow. That thing was pushing the front end so bad he had to turn clear to the right, and the front end was still just shoving on him, and he just could not get around that corner. That's going to hurt him with the elapsed time.
Paul Schwanier, former Rookie of the Year here at the Hill Climb. You see him on our SCCA Pro rally shows. Look at him pitching it around. We're at the top of the W's, heading for Devil's Playground.
Once again, he pushed the front end so bad he got way out in the dust, cost him a lot of time. They just really missed the setup on that car today because it's pushing the front end on every corner.
Let's just ride on board for a minute. Whoa, he's close to the edge. Remember, you drop off here, it's about 1,000 feet straight down off to your right.
Yeah, they say rubbing ain't racing in regular stock car racing, but right here you don't want to rub that edge of that course too much.
Well, Bottomless Pit is the name of this corner, and over that wall to the left there, that is 6,000 feet straight down to the town of Manitou Springs.
And you can see he gave that car a big pitch in that corner and got on the gas so to keep the back end out, to keep the front end from pushing, and he did a great job in that corner.
Now, let's take a look at the difference here. Akira Kameyama, see how he comes through the top of the W's heading towards Devil's Playground.
This is a corner we just saw Schwanier go through, so let's see if he gets through it a little bit better with the back end. See how the back end's out? He's under power. He got around there much quicker. He probably gained 2 or 3 tenths of a second in that one corner just because he had the back end out and was under power and went straight off the corner.
You say 2 or 3 tenths of a second per corner, then you'd multiply that times 156. That's a huge margin.
It's a long, long way up that mountain.
This is Boulder Park. You can see how it got its name. Rocks everywhere. Oh, he hit the lip there.
Yes, once again, he got the back end out so much that it drove him right into the inside of the course there. So another small mistake, but those little mistakes make a big difference when it all accumulates.
Boy, and it's slippery up here.
Yes, it is. This course has been changing dramatically all week long. Everybody was complaining about how much it would change from day to day.
Well, he's going to stop the clock, and he will beat Koichi Horiuchi and take the lead, at least for right now, at 12:09. But here comes Kameyama.
Yes, he made up a lot of time on the top part of that course, so obviously the car was going better through the sharper corners than it was down on the bottom. But Kameyama just looks to be handling great. Every corner has been almost picture perfect.
Take a look at this. Kameyama is going to be under 12 minutes at 11:47.44. So the 2-time champion is now a 3-time champion here at Pikes Peak by 21.8 seconds over Paul Schwanier. Horiuchi in third, then Iwata and Ohashi round out the top 5.
Well, Paul Schwanier did a great job on the top part of that course because he made up a lot of time, but he lost a lot on the bottom part of the course, and that's what cost him the victory.
Let's move to Super Stock Car now and pick it up with Steve Gegline. He was first off the line because he did not make it to Glen Cove during qualifying. He would finish it at a time of 12 minutes 33.05 seconds. Then it was Mark McCallan. He was the 9th quickest qualifier at 5:42.3, and he would be slower at a time of 13 minutes 30.77 seconds. And then there was Rod Moberly. He qualified 8th at 5:34.8, but he would have trouble.
Yes, he went off the course out of our camera range and did not get to the top.
Lynn Cowan would set the mark for everybody to beat. He qualified 6th, but he would stop the clock at 12 minutes 30.41 seconds. So that sets the stage for Super Stock Car.
And the Super Stock Car is a hardtop sedan, model years 92 through 98. Minimum weight of 2,200 pounds. The division record, 11:39.17. Can they beat it? We'll see.
And that brings us to the most dramatic moment for everyone involved in the hill climb. Ralph Bruning, the 8-time champion. You heard us mention the fact he has terminal cancer, diagnosed just a few months ago, and he wanted to race the mountain one more time. He's going to have another obstacle. It's beginning to rain. That will change the course conditions. Ralph has got a chemo pack attached to him. He's running with oxygen. this has been the inspiration for everyone the entire race week. And the moment is finally here, and Ralph Bruning is attacking Pikes Peak one more time.
And he certainly has attacked it all week like there was nothing wrong with him. He's run very well in qualifying and all week long. He's been really an inspiration.
You saw the fans applauding him. He qualified 5th quickest, and before today's race, I had a chance to ask him, why do it?
It's a challenge. And I'm not going to just stop my life because I have terminal cancer. I'm going to keep going forward. I mean, every day is a gift. And I'm going to live it as if I weren't sick. Well, I just like, people to know that because they have a terminal illness doesn't mean you have to stop life. You need to keep going forward and try not to get down.
Talk about going forward, 101 miles an hour.
He is flying, and look at the crowd. They're cheering this guy. They love to see what he's doing here today.
It has truly been an emotional, inspirational week. Look at him. He's clipping the corners. This 8-time champion hasn't forgotten a thing. Here's Terry Wark. He's the 4th fastest qualifier. Don't think these guys are going to give anything to Ralph. He's going to have to earn it. They want the championship as well.
Well, every racer wants to win. They all feel for Ralph. They want him to do well, but they all want to win this race, and they are going to run up this mountain as hard as they can run.
Wark hammered down as he heads towards Engineer's Corner.
You can see him get a little sideways there. That's because he was on the brakes, downshifting. The thing did a little fishtail.
And look at the attention our legends are getting. The Toyota Bosch Challenge of Champions still to come. These guys are, they've got to be getting nervous. Could this be a future legend? That's Clint Baschultz. He's going for number 3 today. Back at the Pikes Peak International Hillclimb, presented by KYB Gas Shocks here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. At the summit, it is Stephen Cox down here with me, Larry Rice. I'm Marty Reed, and here's where the cars are on the racetrack. At Glen Cove, it's Ralph Bruning. Now, that's the halfway point of the course. Let's pick it up with Ralph. And whoa, a little smoke out on the right side there.
Yeah, we saw just a little bit of smoke earlier through one of the other corners coming out of the back of the car. A little bit more right there as he goes around this part of the race course. Oh, a lot of smoke coming out right now, and that looks like it's coming out of the engine. It's oil smoke, and that's not real good.
He was 3 seconds quicker than Lynn Cowan. That's the time to beat now at Glen Cove. Here's Lane Schranz. He was our 3rd fastest qualifier at 5.5 minutes. He's through Engineer's Corner. Boy, that was smooth.
He has looked very good all week long. Gay Smith also is a perennial favorite here, and he's looked very good so far, and he's really looking for a good run here today. He's got a new car.
Now, one of the issues has always been whether or not to pave the peak, and you'll notice that there is a material on the racetrack. It's called Pensuppress.
Back in 1996, 2/3 of the 12.42-mile Pikes Peak Hill Climb course was treated with Pensuppress D. This material was created by Pennzoil to be non-toxic and control dust and silt runoff on all unpaved roads. It's an alternative to pavement. This year, much of the course has been retreated, mostly to control dust, and the reaction from the racers has been very, very good in general.
Well, Pensuppress D, as you can see, has provided some very clean, smooth, hard surfaces that we expect the drivers are going to be much faster on this year. As you also know, not the entire road has been treated. There are some gravelly sections that we expect will possibly slow them down or will be the same as last year.
You can really see the difference between the untreated and treated road surfaces in this shot from high in the W's. The Pensuppress treated road is much darker than the dirt road. For the 100,000 tourists each year, it means a much nicer ride up the mountain. For the racers, it means a harder surface with better traction and hopefully a faster ride to the top.
Every year, drivers come up to the mountain, and through the process of learning and coming to the mountain year after year and running their vehicles, they fine-tune their vehicles. In a way, even though it's not intended for this, for the race specifically, the mountain road is being fine-tuned as well. It's still an unpaved road, but it performs much better than an untreated unpaved road.
So let's pick up the action now back on the racetrack. Ralph Bruning has made his way to Devil's Playground. Terry Wark is into the W's. Lane Schranz is approaching Glen Cove. Gay Smith is halfway between ski area and the halfway mark. And here is Ralph Bruning as he is making his way towards the summit. The goal not only to finish, but he wants to take home championship number 9. But just being here has been so special for everyone. Through bottomless pit. Ooh, a little sideways there, and oh, he's got that smoke back.
Still appeared to get through there very quickly. He did have to give up preparing his own cars. He's always been very proud of that fact. This year he lets his other people do that.
At Glen Cove, look out, Lane Trans. Whoa.
Wow, a complete 180 on the paved part of the racetrack, and you can see that black tire mark's not good for him, and he's not got the car restarted yet.
The crowd gives him a round of applause. Oh, he's got a broken suspension part, left front.
That's probably why that happened. Very unusual to see a spin on the pavement.
Top qualifier, 2-time champion, Clint Boschholtz. He is on the racetrack. This is the guy to beat.
Certainly is. He is the perennial champion. He's the favorite. He knows this mountain probably as well as anybody in the country, and he wants to win this thing very, very badly.
He was a rookie back in '96 after coming over from the motorcycle division. He has owned this division since then in '96 and '97. Here is Gay Smith. Ralph Bruning's time on the left. Smith is going to be slower, so Bruning still the guy to beat.
Gay Smith, you can see a little bit of rain out there as he's got his windshield wiper on to get through that little bit of rain, keep the windshield a little cleaner.
Gay Smith, a 5-time runner-up in this event. Here comes Clint Boschholtz to the picnic grounds. We'll get an idea. 106 miles an hour.
Well, he put a bigger engine in his car this year, hoping to gain some straightaway speed. It looks like that might be the case. It has helped him. He's also changed the weight distribution. He's put a little bit more front weight in that car, thinking it'll help him get up the mountain quicker.
Well, the Toyota Bosch Challenge of Champions is just around the corner. That's Robbie Unser talking to his dad. I wonder if the roles have truly been reversed. We're at Pikes Peak. Stay with us. Along with Larry Rice and Stephen Cox, back at Colorado Springs, I'm Marty Reed at the Pikes Peak International Hillclimb. 76th running of this storied event. Take a look at the map now. Ralph Bruning is on the verge of reaching his goal of making it to the summit, and he is approaching that 14,110-foot mark. We're going to pick it back up at Glen Cove. This is halfway. Clint Boschholtz, he is definitely quicker by 13 seconds almost over Ralph Bruning.
He really has a handle on this mountain. He makes it tough on everybody. This is a very close division. As we go back up to Gay Smith, he's a 1974 Stock Car Rookie of the Year. He's still got his windshield wiper on, though, but he's having some trouble today.
We have a report that Gay did spin the car, so that is going to basically take away his chances of victory. He is a 5-time runner-up here in Boulder Park. There is Ralph Bruning.
This guy is really got to be amazing. He's got to be an inspiration to everybody. That thing's been smoking since he left the starting line and is still running fast.
The time to beat on the left is Lynn Cowan's. Ralph Bruning is going to do it, and he's going to take the lead. 12 minutes, 19.93 seconds, and the emotion inside that cockpit, we can only imagine.
Well, he wanted to finish, but believe me, inside he wanted to win as well.
Well, he's the guy to beat right now, and here comes Gay Smith. And Gay, as we mentioned, has had problems, so it is not going to be Gay's day, and he may not even come in second after that spin. 5 times a runner-up in this race. He makes his way towards the finish line, as does Terry Wark, and Wark's not going to do it. Wark is now second. Ralph Bruning is still there in the #1 spot at 12:19.93, seeking his 9th championship, and that is Ralph. And I don't need to say another word. Gay Smith is approaching the line now, and that spin was very costly. Gay's going to stop the clock at 12:34.66. So Ralph Bruning has one man standing between him and his 9th championship. Let's go to the top of the mountain. Here's Stephen Cox with Ralph.
Ralph, first of all, just tell me about the run.
It was just really, really slippery. And we had, I'm not going to make any excuses. You know, I mean, I had some problems that cost me a lot of time, but I'm just thankful I'm here to participate with all you wonderful people. You know, I mean, this is it's just so gratifying. I'm meant to be alive right now.
I know this race means a tremendous amount to you. Did that enter into your head at all when you were in the track?
I was just a race car driver. When they dropped the green flag, I was just a race car driver. And that's all I could think about. And I just wanted the finish line. I just wanted the finish line.
Ralph, you've got the finish line, and you may have your 9th championship. This is the only man that can deny him. Clint Vaschholz, that's his motorcycle record here. He has won twice in stock car, and right now, I think everybody on the mountain is hoping that he doesn't do it.
Well, I think you're exactly right. Ralph Bruning is definitely the favorite. These guys would like to see him make a mistake or two, but he doesn't do that often.
And it may not happen today. In fact, here comes the finish line for Clint Vaschholz. He is going to win his 3rd straight. A tremendous tribute to his talents. Ralph Bruning will finish in 2nd, and maybe the message there is what Ralph said. I just wanted the finish line. He got it. He was 24 seconds slower than Clint Vaschholz. What a performance by Clint. Terry Wark is 3rd, Lynn Cowan 4th, Steve Gegline in 5th. Let's go to the summit and catch up with our winner.
The car was working really good out of the gate. There's this 3-time win thing, and some people have broken down, and some people have just gotten beat. And I take off, and road was hooked up. I said to myself, okay, we can put one down here. Car was working wonderfully, and all of a sudden I was coming up into Grouse Hill, and I just developed this huge vibration. It felt as if my drive shaft bolts were coming loose. It was massive, or I just got a whole bunch of sand or something in my tire. So this started playing on the back of my mind, and
Yeah, this track requires a lot of confidence. Did it steal it?
it did. It really was, and I started saying to myself, I said, man, if I keep doing this, I'm going to make a mistake. If I got to get rid of this. I'm not going to back off because I'm going to crash, or I'm going to get to the top. And my
This is the normal racer's groove. You go wide, you make the corners as wide and sweeping as you possibly can. And he obviously has run a lot of off-road trucks, a lot of off-road races, and he knows how to get the car around the corners.
63 miles an hour. That's exactly the same speed as Bobby Unser.
So with exactly the same straightaway speed, that makes the cornering even that much more important. And with very little horsepower, it's extremely important to keep up your momentum through these corners.
Approaching Glen Cove, the time to beat on the left, and Roger Mears is going to do it easily. So he made up some time somewhere on the race course. The clock stops at 5:53.7, and that brought up Parnelli Jones, our third quickest qualifier at 6:37.6. And he holds the distinction of winning the Indianapolis 500 and the stock car crown here at Pikes Peak in the same year.
That was in 1963. Mario Andretti won the open wheel division and the Indy 500 in 1969.
Those are the only two guys to do it. Now, coming through the picnic grounds. Parnelli's about 1 mile an hour slower.
Well, that is not good because that kind of tells you that he didn't get through that corner and down that straightaway quite as quick as these other two guys.
Barnelli Jones, his son PJ, running on the kart tour with the Team Toyota. Here he comes, and he is going to be third in line today as he stops the clock at 6:36.89. He stops the car immediately.
He was in a hurry to get out of there. Roger Mears is your winner. Bobby Unser comes home 35 seconds behind him. Barnelli Jones in third position, 44 seconds back. Now let's go to Marty and see if he can break the news as to who won this race.
PJ 6:38.10. Yeah, and Bobby a 6:06.29, and Roger 5:53.70.
No way.
Holy mackerel!
Whoa! Well, I knew I had a better run than yesterday, but there was a couple of corners I went wide on and bogged her, but so that's good. Well, that tickles me.
Yeah,
I really wanted to beat this guy. I really wanted.
See, now the truth comes out. You were the target.
Well, that's all right, but he did good today. That's really good.
Is this the first time a Mears has beaten an Unser in the same race?
Heads up, I think, yeah.
Heads up, is it? Congratulations, Roger.
I got your cherry, yeah?
That's right.
Well, what about you? You were no slouch in this deal.
Well, I thought I got up better than I did the other day. Obviously, I didn't, but you know, I'm a little disappointed, frankly. You know, let these squirrels here beat me. You know, I'll probably mope for a week or two, you know.
Well, you know what? We'll just have to come back and do it again next year.
He'll come back with blood in his eye next year. That's what he'll do.
Hey, guys, real treat for us. Thanks for sharing it with us. And I'm serious. I hope we can do it again next year.
It's a lot of fun. And let me say, I mean, it's just great for me to be able to run with two guys that not only have been my friends for a long time, but my heroes, and they're just great guys.
Now, he's not our hero anymore now.
yeah. Now he's the target.
Must be the age,
Must be the age.
Well, this young fella doesn't seem like he's caring who won the Toyota Bosch Challenger Championship. And look at this. Build a little scaffolding, bring out a couch, and you're ready to watch the hill climb. Back at the starting line, that's Paul Dallenbach, and that's an open wheeler. And these cars can really fly up the mountain, and they're next at Pikes Peak. Along with Larry Rice and Stephen Cox, I'm Marty Reed, back at Pikes Peak at the International Hill Climb in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We've had a little bit of rain roll through. Let's take a look at some mini sprint action and the highlights. Another Unser did run up the mountain. This is Bobby's daughter, Jerry, a rookie. In fact, she won Rookie of the Year honors. Qualified 7th. She would finish 6th at 14 minutes, 44.22 seconds. But the winner of the division would be this man, John Johnson. He qualified 1st, and he would win in a time of 12 minutes, 39.51 seconds. Now, these are the smaller versions of the open wheelers, and open wheel is what we're going to take a look at next. Scott Brazier from Monument, Colorado. He qualified 5th at 6:11.
You can see that engine is already hot heading up this mountain. That's steam coming out the overflow.
Butch Hardman from Golden, Colorado was our 4th quickest qualifier.
And he's in the traditional front engine car. Not very many of these left around.
Stan Cosson, a perennial here at the mountain, qualified 3rd at 5 minutes, 30.8 seconds.
Well, he's been very smooth all week long. He was looking for a win, but didn't quite get it here today.
Barry Isaac was our 2nd quickest qualifier at 5:23.3.
And he broke a distributor cap in practice the first day. Got very, very little practice, but did a nice job.
The unknown factor in all this, in open wheel, was Paul Dallenbach, a former champion here from Basalt, Colorado. He had no practice, did not make it to the finish line in qualifying, got almost there, and then had the clutch explode on him. But this is a very potent team when they can keep this car together. On board now with our Hewlett-Packard cockpit cam.
These are single-seat, single-engine cars, open cockpit, and the division record 10.585. That could be in jeopardy today. You can see riding along with him, this racetrack looks a lot different when you're going 100 miles an hour.
Paul won this division back in 1993. Ooh, it didn't sound real good there.
Back on board with our Hewlett-Packard in-car cam, you can see that he's fighting that wheel, trying to get that thing up the mountain as quickly as he can. The engine that's blown twice already this week and I haven't lost a clutch, so he's had all kinds of problems.
105 miles an hour through the picnic grounds.
That's not a bad speed. You can see it looks like that car is handling very well. He does not use turning brakes. Most of these guys do use turning brakes. He does not, but he's handling very well, it looks like.
And the perennial in this division, the top qualifier, Gary Lee Canoyer. He was so much quicker than everybody else in qualifying. He is going for his 4th straight open wheel championship. Right there, you see he has 4 already, but those last 3, he has been the dominant force.
And I asked him about those very narrow front tires. He said they're hard to find. They don't even make them anymore, so he has to buy a bunch when he can find them. And look at this, 118 miles an hour. He is quick.
That's 13 miles an hour quick. Whoa! As he gets that left front slamming into the air. Back on board with the Hewlett-Packard cockpit cam. Dallenbach's going to have to pick it up if he's going to have a chance here at Pikes Peak. Marty Reed along with Larry Rice, Stephen Cox at the summit. We're at Pikes Peak. Whoa, a handful there as we're on board with the Hewlett-Packard cockpit cam of Paul Dallenbach.
Paul told me the biggest problem he's going to have today is finding out which gear he should be in coming out of the corners, because he hasn't had as much practice up here as he should have had. So far, it looks like he's done a nice job, and the engine sounds like it's revving pretty good.
Here we are at the halfway picnic grounds, 5:11. He is 11 seconds quicker than Stan Cosson. So that is now the time to beat. But boy, that car looks like it's going all over the place when we were on board.
Well, yeah, from that inboard camera, you can see that he was fighting the wheel a lot, but that's not unusual. 156 corners. Oh, and look at this. He started to slow down.
Paul Dallenbach coming around, and that is Ragged Edge. And Dallenbach has come to a stop, so that means Gary Lee Canoyer, and look at this. He is so much quicker, 13 seconds quicker through Glen Cove.
And look at him drop that wheel off the edge of that mountain. He is not afraid of this place.
He goes blowing past Paul Dallenbach, gave him a little bit of a wave there.
Well, I'm sure he's a little more comfortable. He told me he did not change one thing on that car from last year. He said it was so good last year, why change it until somebody proves they can beat me?
Well, nobody can. I mean, Stan Cosson was much slower than Dallenbach, and that man, Gary Lee Canoyer, was 13 seconds quicker through Glen Cove. And look at this, Canoyer, he's not going to get close to the record. The road is slowing down. Here he comes. He'll stop the clock at 10 minutes, 57.19 seconds. Remember, the record's about 10:05, and what's this, is Alex Zanardi impersonation?
Oh, I don't know. Sliding sideways towards those cars up there didn't look too good to me.
Well, Gary Lee wins by 49 seconds over Stan Cosson. Butchart, Barry Isaac, and Scott Brazier round out the top 5 in the open wheel division. But boy, the significant thing here is the fact that the road has slowed down. The record here is at 10:05. Let's go to Stephen Cox with our winner.
Well, really, really fine run. But how did the weather play into it with the humidity and maybe some precipitation? Did you run into it?
I was sprinkling a little bit at the bottom, you know, so you just had to be a little careful down there. You didn't know how wet it was going to be on that pavement, because you know what happens when pavement gets wet. But the road was slippery, I thought. I don't think there's no records probably today in at least our class or the other classes, but it's just loose, just super loose, you know, and there's just no way to get a hold of it. If you get out of the groove just an inch or two, you're going to the outside.
Well, you can see the rain has begun to fall down the starting line. Rod Millen has decided to run first as top qualifier. That is his choice. He can go first or he can go last. And Millen in the Toyota Tacoma is on the starting line. Can he break the 10-minute barrier? We'll find out when we come back. Back at Pikes Peak, Rod Millen puts his goggles on. Yes, that is technically a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. Don't ask us how that becomes a pickup, but that's what Rod says it is, so that's where we're going.
And they just started on that truck on January 15th, so it's brand spanking new.
The 3-time Unlimited champion is underway. His assault on the record book, the quest continues.
And you can just see how much faster he gets through the corners. That car can create 2,800 pounds of downforce with the aerodynamics.
On board here with Bobby Register. This is a hybrid. This is a Corvette, but look at the front wing. That's why we call it the Unlimited Division. We're on board. Hold on.
Well, they asked him why they put that big front wing on there, and they said, well, the front end wants to push, so we had to do something to get the front end to stick, so they hung it on there.
They had tried all kinds of configurations. He couldn't barely see at one point.
Well, it's still a little bit of an obstruction up there, as you can tell by the in-car camera, but he still gets up the hill pretty good.
Register Moving over from the stock car division where he won twice, and there you get your first exterior look of how he is in the middle of this Corvette, and boy, those wings really sticking out.
They are huge.
Here comes Millen at 123. That is much slower. That's 8 miles an hour slower than earlier in the week when he was at 131.
Well, that does not sound good for him. But look at the rooster tail. That all comes from the ground effects. All that suction that the car sucks the car down, it blows the dust out the back.
Second quick qualifier, Nobuhiro Tajima. And this guy had a great race back at New Zealand.
He certainly did. He beat Rod Millen, one of the very few times Rod Millen has been beaten here in the last several years. And he beat him barely, but he did beat him.
And you saw there, Nobuhiro has won the Unlimited Division 3 times here. And that Suzuki looking pretty good.
It is, and you can tell that it is raining down in the bottom part of the course. So it doesn't look good for a new record if that, in fact, happens all the way up the course.
Bobby Register through the picnic grounds, and he is slower than Rod Millen.
Yeah, he's going to have trouble. They didn't have near as much time to develop this car as they should have had. And we'll see if the weather holds up right after this.
Back at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, presented by KYB Gas Shocks. Marty Reed, along with Larry Rice, Stephen Cox. We're on board with Bobby Register. Take a look at the map. You can see that Millen is at Glen Cove, Register between the ski area and Glen Cove, and Nobuhiro Tajima approaching the ski area. And let's go back and check in with Register.
Well, you can tell from this in-car camera that the ground effects part of this car aren't working near as well as they are on that Tacoma truck of Rod Millen's.
Coming through Glen Cove, the time to beat, it's going to be 4:24.72 seconds. I know you're still saying, wait a minute, how can that be a pickup truck? As Rod says, well, we started out with a pickup truck, and this is what our version of a pickup truck ended up looking like.
He's not going to haul much hay in the back of that thing.
But he is hauling the bacon, and so is Bobby Register right now, as he is on that heavily treated Pensa Press area, coming into Glen Cove and already well behind Rod Millen.
You can see that I think the thing they're going to have to do before next year is go back and work on the ground effects portion. The ground effects make a huge difference, even though the speeds in a lot of this course aren't high.
Now this is the radar speeds, and look at this. Nobuhiro Tajima through the picnic ground was actually quicker than Millen. So this could get very interesting.
As we said, we has beaten him already once this year. They would love to do it again, but Rod Millen looks very quick on this course.
Oh, but what happens? We come to the halfway point, and Tajima is very slow.
Well, one thing that does happen when the ground effects package works so well, it does slow down your straightaway speeds.
So there is Rod Millen making his way through Double Cut. You're on board with Bobby Register. We're back with the finish. Today's Speed World event is being brought to you by KYB Gas Shocks, world leader in high-performance gas shocks and struts. Give it your best shot, KYB. Marty Reed along with Larry Rice and Stephen Cox. There is Rod Millen. He is king of the mountain right now, has been the last 3 years, and he is not going to break the record. It does not look like, as he is already past 10 minutes and heading towards the finish line. Coming through, Millen a little sideways, stops the clock. His record is 10 minutes 4.06 seconds. He's about 3.5 seconds off of that mark. So the road has not been kind. One more time to Rod Millen. What about Nobuhiro Tajima? Well, we'll find out as he makes his way through the W's. For those of you interested in the big diesel rigs and the super stock trucks, that will be a separate show at the CFI Kenworth Truck Hill Climb of Pikes Peak. As we always say, keep tuned to those local listings. And for the first time, we're going to have the motorcycles. In fact, that show airs tomorrow. And Tajima a little sideways there as we come through Boulder Park now. And here is Bobby Register.
Yes, and Register's still pushing the front end. He's still flinging the car into the corners to keep that front end under him, and that's costing him a little bit of time every time he does that.
So Register, and you said it, they've got to go back to the drawing board. As you can see, the clock is not going to be kind to him, and he stops it at just under 11 minutes. 52 seconds almost, the difference between Bobby Register and Rod Millen.
Well, it's the underside of the car that needs to be improved, not the top side.
Here comes Nobuhiro Tajima. He was slower by about 17 seconds at Glen Cove. Whoa, he gets way wide there.
Yeah, that's not good. Every time you get out into that dust and loose dirt, it really slows you down. He got way out there that time.
And you can see by the clock that he, too, has been a victim of the mountain. As the records will not fall, Rod Millen will remain king of the mountain at Pikes Peak, but the record and the 10-minute barrier still stands at 10:04.06. There is the three finishers here in Unlimited Division. Rod Millen, the man on top one more time in this category. Let's go down to Victory Lane with Stephen Cox.
Well, Rod, congratulations, first of all. Did you think, even for a minute, that the 10-minute mark of the 10:04 would be broken?
You know, of course I did. You know, we've been so close for so many years now. And when we set that mark in '94, we knew then that we've built a much superior machine, that the truck here works so much better than the Celica did. And so now we're waiting. We're trying to be patient, waiting for those perfect road conditions again. The bottom part of the course, it felt really great. I was really enjoying that. Unfortunately, we got near the top. My braking points were much earlier because it was much slipperier going into the corners. And I thought, well, I'll keep trying. And I did right to the finish, and I thought maybe with a bit of luck I could have got under 10 minutes, but no, we didn't.
Narrow miss. The emotions right now, exhaustion, elation, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, I think somewhere in between, you know, more elations. You know, we were very pleased to win. First, that was our first objective. You know, when it started raining down on the bottom, you know, then we sort of said, well, no 10-minute year this year, under 10-minute year this year. But then it stopped, so we thought, well, yeah, we can still get another shot here, you know, but, you know, that's a good reason to come back next year.
Well, they needed the rain at the top, not at the bottom, where it was a little too dusty to have a quick time today.